All right. Thank you for taking a look at my reference video. My name is Markarius Williams. I wanted to go over my reference video and give you guys some insight details to contact poses throughout the keyframes, passing poses, fast ins, slow outs, so on and so forth. Different extremes. First pose that we will be covering is the my wife pose. I imagine this, and at least in the scene, he's going to be talking to a waitress alongside a buddy of his, who is going to be Gary. Just for the sake of purpose of the audio, his name is Gary, his friend. Um, I envisioned the audio, at least to me, representing someone probably at a bar talking to a waitress, maybe trying to get an extra drink for free. Um, so I tried to make it as playful and as eccentric as well as serious as possible. So there's a range of emotion, going over from like the con artist to possibly the thinker, to someone back probably being a con artist of sorts, and being serious, coming to a serious point and holding there. Sorry about that. And then showing a range of emotion to continue that serious emotion as well. Um, Looking for validation, and then going back to ask the question humbly. So, with that being said, let's go through the video and let's just see it from start to finish. So, we can see here being the last pose, palms up, kind of groveling, um, very humble, very sad in the face with the emotions. Ask Gary. It's definitely a fast in, an extreme with the change from 3 to 4. But with this being a fast in, he's looking for validation, pointing back at the waitress, trying to drive all the attention back to the waitress. Right here, we can see him breathe. So this is the theatrics. This is kind of the crescendo of the dramatics, taking it to that level to explain to the waitress his desire or love, to be with her. I would like this more fluid when I'm animating and done with the same hand. The hands are kind of reversed on this one. Um, I want this same hand to kind of go down and grab his throat as well instead of coming back down. So just one fluid motion. This is more along in passing. And with the passing pose, I would say this is an extra movement. It's really not placed. It's just kind of one of those bad acting quirks. Not really sure what he was doing with his hands there, but we got ups, downs, Just a few days ago, cry so hard I couldn't breathe. Tell her, Gary. So this is definitely a passing pose. The cry so hard up into the height of the contact. Couldn't breathe. And then the passing pose. Ups and downs. Downs is definitely a hold. So downs should last up until here. One of the quirks of just trying to act it out, the hand poses. So ups and downs. Hold. Back over. Cry so hard I couldn't breathe. Tell her, Gary. Are you groveling? Kind of coming back to it at the end there. So let's take a quick look. Cry so hard, couldn't breathe. Ask Gary, another fast hand. This hand is doing all that motion. So he takes his head back, changes the direction of his body, keeps that same direction all the way into the breathe. So this is a passing pose. This is the hold, passing pose, the contact to the extreme. Hand slams back down as he leans back into Gary. And then he comes back and shows the slow out to the extreme of change of direction back to the waitress. At the beginning, you can see that initial hold. I'm not smiling, but just imagine the most loving look a person could give. And then rubs his face down. Because this is a response. I took it as if he's waiting there, sitting, waiting for an answer from the waitress. He probably doesn't get the answer that he's looking for. He's like, oh, my wife, I know. Because he knows that he's probably not done something good in the past. But he tries to remind her that they've had their ups and their downs. And I'm thinking maybe if it's a waitress, then he's probably telling her that he doesn't have all the money that he needs. So he's kind of down in this example. And that hold, ups, downs, it's kind of a little stutter, down, then ups there. If you can catch it really quickly, ups, downs. This would be originally the ups. This is kind of an anticipation going into the ups. So anticipation, ups, downs, and cry so hard. Cry so hard. Going into page 2. I wanted to really do the drawings just because, pencil and paper kind of help me think, and it's good to see the emotions and try to make them match the words and giving them a little bit of life. I feel like when I see it, it makes it a little bit easier on me to try to communicate his emotional state, to match the words the best way I can. Just reminds me, hey, he's smiling first, then he's thinking. He's like ups, he had a good idea. Downs, he remembers the bad ideas that made him cry so hard he couldn't breathe just a couple days ago. He needs Gary for validation. She's like, if you don't believe me, just ask Gary. He says it really quick, so that's why it's kind of a fast hand. And then he kind of mumbles off. as if, he knows it's a long shot, but he still has a little bit of hope. I want that look of hope, maybe a little dread in his eyes there. Right here, I hate that I had to cover up his face, but I had no other way to show cry without taking it to that extreme. But thank you. I welcome all notes. Please let me know if you have any thoughts, maybe some cleanup, or if there's just too much going on. Sometimes I'm afraid I'm always trying to do too much. So feel free to give me a response, email me, and I would love to hear from you all.